Little pigs, let me come in. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in. Here's Johnny.
It looks like the Master Chief Petty Officer of Naval Station Norfolk is actually coming out and saying that he's going to lock residents outside of their barracks rooms because they are not clean enough or up to standards. This is verbatim what has been posted online across Reddit and social media and various other places, as many service members have been pissed off about this, and rightfully so. Listen to this. Shipmates, if a room is found to be unsat or unsatisfactory during random UH staff inspections, the room will be locked and residents will not be able to regain entry until they return to the front desk with khaki leadership, meaning E7 and above, from your parent command. The khaki leader will stay with the resident until the room is cleared by UH staff. Very respectfully, Command Master Chief Angelo Rappo. Now, it is no secret that the barracks can be wild, rowdy, and quite dirty, as I will show an example right here. And I will also show how nice it can be right here.
So, my biggest question is how many people would have actually re-enlisted if they got this in the Marine Corps? So, let's start with the kitchen. I have a stove, all my cabinets, drawers and all that jazz. I have a disposable, disposer, whatever the hell, for that. Obviously your fridge and microwave, everyone gets one of those. Your table, your own washer and dryer, one mirror, my roommate's sink, my roommate's separate room, there's a sink there, my own sink, and then here's the rooms, you get your own room and everything. And then you got 2 closets, which are pretty, they're pretty big. And yeah,
And we know that this has been shot across the board, as I will show you a clip here, as even the Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy and various others top enlisted leaders spoke in a 2-hour-long meeting with Congress talking about living standards.
On the topic of housing, I'd like to point out that the Navy is unique from our sister services in that we don't have the authority to provide housing allowance to our sailors that are E3 and below, currently assigned to ships. While we appreciate the authorities that are provided in the FY24 NDAA for those assigned to operational sea duty platforms undergoing a shipyard availability or maintenance periods, the junior sailors who are currently deployed will not be afforded that same opportunity when they return to home port from those deployments. I have spoken to the leadership and the sailors of these deployed units, and this is the top quality of life concern affecting nearly 800 sailors per aircraft carrier. Additionally, access to timely and quality health care is another pillar we need to fortify. In March of 2023, I testified that this was a top concern, and I continue to hear about it today.
However, I am quite baffled that there is a Command Master Chief with, per his entire biography here, saying that he has been over 30 years and this is the solution that he's come up with. Because honestly, I think locking people out of their place of residence, home, and someplace they should find as a place of safety and refuge is honestly one of the worst things that anybody could ever anticipate on the hierarchy of needs. And that's just crazy when I look at this. However, the spokesperson for the naval station in Norfolk actually doubled down and said this was all in the right. Kelly Werfel, a spokeswoman for Naval Station Norfolk, confirmed to Task and Purpose on Wednesday that the note is authentic. The move resulted from several sailors failing room inspections, Werfel said on Wednesday. Unaccompanied housing employees determined the sailors had not followed quotations clear and concise room standards, end quotes, she said. The issues mainly focus on cleanliness of the rooms, Werfel said, and says food items left out that could attract insects, dirty dishes piled in the sinks, appliances not clean, spoiled food in the fridge, mainly focus on the overall sanitation and cleanliness of the room. All those who failed inspections were in clear violation of room standards. The reason why a chief petty officer or commissioned officer needs to stay with the sailors until the rooms are cleaned and deemed to be satisfactory is so that the sailors understand the importance of keeping their living spaces clean, Werfel said. When asked what sailors should do if they are locked out of their rooms after hours and cannot find a superior, Werfel said that all unaccompanied housing buildings are manned 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It says if a sailor is unable to find someone in their chain of command, unaccompanied housing staff can assist. Unsanitary conditions in sailors' rooms can pose a health hazard, in part because sailors could be called to their ships for several weeks, said Navy veteran General Carlton. Having dirty dishes and spoiled food in the rooms for that long could attract pests. And they say no khaki is going to want to sit there while you clean your room, Carlton said. I'm guessing individual commands will probably start doing their own inspections to ensure it doesn't get to the level of them being locked out. And this is where I showed those two clips because I want to show the extreme of something that can be very nice, and that was a Marine Corps barracks in Iwakuni, Japan. However, there's also on the other end where barracks are just so atrociously dirty, where people don't understand how to respect things, and it's the first thing they've ever lived somewhere where that is the case, and they've ever had to take care of their own space. Now, this brings a huge debate because there is a massive disparity here, as I would like to say, what should a command master chief, a master chief in general, be responsible for? I would say it should be warfighting. That should be it. And this is where I look at where you have master chiefs that are supposed to be advocates and making sure people have proper housing and care. You locking the door does not do that in this situation. If anything, it hinders that trust that you are giving to sailors that they have a place to live and sends a wrong message. So I do agree with the sentiment of having to make sure government property is upkept. I do agree with having sanitary spaces. I do agree with having a place that other people are able to live in as well and have a respectful smell and presentation as well. However, locking people out of their barracks rooms, I think, was the wrong message that was being sent in this case scenario. And I'm not the only one that thinks this as well. Blake Darling says, why can't we get anyone to join or stay in? And someone below that says, excessive babysitting. DOD needs to exit the housing business. Real apartments with ground floor commissary and Navy exchange or exchanges in general need to be built. Someone on Reddit writes, you got to include pictures of the room if you want us on your side. And someone below that said, former Little Creek room advisor here said, yep, this could be an overreaction, or dudes might be leaving half-processed deer skulls in their room with the meat still attached. Ask me why I use that very specific and weird example. And I will say here, to be fair to this Master Chief, it's not a snap your fingers, everything is done, and this could be a fixed problem where it's no longer going to be his issue. The Navy has dabbled with some of this, and other branches, I'm assuming, have as well, as dealing with outsourced contract stuff that could be done at scale. And one of those is the Beacon over in San Diego, which I've never seen this housing type of situation be used anywhere else. But essentially, it's like a rental. It's located on a base, but it's moderated and owned and operated by a civilian entity where these people would be entitled to the same features of like an apartment building. But I have to say that this would allow for leadership to get off the back of sailors, another entity be involved with that. But at the same time, I do want to understand that this is not always a solution, because if you guys have not watched other videos where people have talked about housing issues that are operated by third-party contract companies, they get rewarded when they actually haven't even done the job previously and get slaps on the wrist for things that they've never actually fixed. But I do want to say the other issue with this is we know that the barracks are meant for junior service members that essentially are not responsible with their money most times, more than not, and that is just most people have $5 in their account and live paycheck to paycheck, where if this was operated by a civilian entity, that if they broke something, stole something, damaged, whatever else, that essentially they would be on the hook for this, which could implement other issues that could affect the warfighter as well, which would be monetarily speaking. I believe right now in the world of 2024 geopolitics, I have a Master Chief or several hundreds of Master Chiefs worried about living situations where really I think we need to worry about warfighting, and outsourcing this problem would be the best solution for that. But this is where I get to you guys, and what do you guys think about this situation? Because obviously I'm not the only opinion on the internet, you guys as well are out there, and I agree that is where the discussion continues down in the comments below. But as always, if you guys like what I cover here on the channel, hit me up over on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.